connect. Talking the talk with Kate and Jim, and walking the walk, just listening. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixing transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixing transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Keeps a positive spin while Kate's doing the Mickey hazard name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like let you stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixing transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Jim always keeps a positive spin while Kate's doing the Mickey hazard name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like let me stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. Perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixing transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Jim always keeps a positive spin while Kate's doing the Mickey hazard name dropping. Gets you out of the blue and let you stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. Always keeps a positive spin while Kate's doing the Mickey hazard name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like let me stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping.
Welcome back to Kate and Jimbo, where there's never a dull day in the land of Tottenham. So much has happened since we last streamed. The Europa League final and the parade and everything else seems like a lifetime ago, because there's been all change at Tottenham Hotspur. Jimbo, how are you feeling today?
Yeah, all right, darling. Thank you. Just getting ready for the news of who our next manager is going to be. It's going to be underwhelming, I'm very sure.
Well, there's a lot of rumours coming out today that Marco Silva could be the next manager, but Fabrizio Romano has come out and said that their talks with Thomas Frank are advancing well and they expect the announcement to be next week. So who knows? I feel kind of underwhelmed with either, but Marco Silva, I would be very, very disappointed. I don't think he's anywhere close to being an upgrade.
They're just talking about it now, Kate. I'll put it on.
Okay. But yes, Ange Postecoglou sacked yesterday, exactly 2 years to the day after he was appointed as Tottenham manager. It appears that even though he won us our first European trophy in 41 years, our first trophy in 17 years, it wasn't enough to save his job. Those 22 league losses and the fact that we finished in 17th place was just too much for Levy and co to bear. So, as always, Levy pulled the trigger and we are back to square one once again at the start of the season, in the middle of a transfer window, scratching our arse, thinking not only who are we going to bring in, but who's going to be the manager. So it all feels a little bit deja vu. But before we go into it, let's have a look who's in the chat. We've got Simon Cohen, who says, seems like Silva will be the next manager. Good afternoon, all. I still think it's going to be Thomas Frank. I think there'd be an absolute riot if it's Marco Silva. But look, this is Tottenham. Anything can happen. Sleepy Mockers here. Big up to you with your beautiful cat. Graham's here for Spurs GCTV. Big up to you, my love. Big up David Clark says Marco Silva melts when the heat is on, and it might not be Southgate or my over 6 decades following Spurs will come to an end. I can't see it being Southgate. Don't even say it. Big up Paige. Good to see you, my love. Shem says, afternoon, Princess Kate Jimbo, new era for Spurs. Let's get behind the new manager, whoever it will be. Bring back Jose, ha ha. Revernites here says, I'm sorry, I know Spurs really needed that trophy, but Spurs shouldn't be close to relegation. Good luck to the next man who comes in. Revernight, they're going to need it. They're going to need it. Afternoon, Fiona, good to see you. Afternoon, Chris Peters, who says he is absolutely gutted. I know a lot of people are feeling that at the moment, Chris. Jim Valores says, hi from Australia. So disappointing. Ange has always won trophies, but he wanted to stay and build in the project. That's the thing. Ange never stays more than 3 years. So this would have been his 3rd year. So, I mean, there is an argument that had we have kept him, would he have wanted to go at the end of next year anyway? I don't know. Reverend Knight says, Thomas Frank's a very intelligent man. Hope he does well. So do I. The first time in Premier League history that a team has lost 22 league games and not been relegated yet. Big up Dan Davenport. Good to see you, sir. Couva Bears in the house says, big up Kate and Jim. I'll take you up on the invite if things are slow, but if you have plenty calling in, I'm happy just chilling in chat. You know what, Coos? We're easy. We're quite happy to sit here talking to each other. We do it every day for most of the day. So, but if any members do want to come on, the link is in the chat. No, it isn't. It's in the community section. Dan Davenport says Frank has no experience in Champions League football. Yeah, there is that. G'day, David Shear. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Rich says Ange had experience losing in the Champions League. Does that count? Look, for every argument for Ange, there's a counter argument against him. For every argument against Ange, there's a counter argument for him. I hope that made sense. I think I got that the right way around. He did what no other manager has managed to do. Got us not only our first trophy in 17 years, our first European trophy in 41 years, but, and there is a big but, nearly as big as my but, the league is the best barometer to measure success, in the fact of, if you're bottom of the league but you win a trophy, you have to win fewer games to get to a final and win it. So I get why people wanted him out. I absolutely get it 100%. But at the same time, good, Jim.
No, just let me cut you off there. Sorry, you got because he did terrible in the league this season. He did all right in the first season. Doesn't mean he's going to do terrible next season. Well, we've had a lot of managers that have done bad in their first season and then gone on to win stuff. You know, but I mean, it shocks me because I just think to myself, what does it tell you? What does it tell you for the what does it tell the next manager? You know, I am shocked by it. I thought they'd give him next season. And then, look, I'm not an idiot. I know that's not 17th is not good enough, but it doesn't mean we was going to end up back down there next season.
You've completely made me forget what I was going to say. It does happen quite a lot. So, but no, it's completely gone. But a big welcome to everyone who's coming in. Appreciate each and every one of you. If you could just tickle the like button for me, it would help. I'm not one who ever really asks for likes and subs that much, but it does help the channel, especially as we're only a little tiny channel. The big question is Levy looking for a manager with Premier League experience or Champions League experience? It will show us what is a priority. Should try for Emery. I would absolutely love Unai Emery. I take him all day long.
Yeah,
and
why would he leave
Villa? Yeah.
Villa.
But not only would I love Unai Emery, I'd also love AJ. And look, here he is. AJ, how are you diddling?
Oh, how do you know I'm diddling?
You're always diddling.
No, yeah, I'm not sure how long I can be on, guys. I've got obviously a little man with me. Abs has had to go out, so I'm on parental duties.
Oh God!
But but yeah, I made it clear that I didn't think Ange should have stayed. Right, I didn't think he should have stayed, regardless of the trophy win. 22 losses in a Premier League season just isn't, I mean, you can't, that's not acceptable. However, the flip side of that is we won a trophy. We won our first trophy in 17 years. And other managers that people have waxed lyrical about, your Jose Mourinho's and your Conte's, your no-nonsense managers that will come in and they'll get the job done. They win everywhere they go. They'll get us a trophy. Nailed on. And what they didn't, did they? Neither one of them did. And yes, arguments can be made for Mourinho, but just because you get to a final, we know, right? And other teams know, just because you get to a final, it doesn't mean you're going to win it. That's a whole different ballgame. How many Spurs fans that are saying, oh, but we finished 17th, but we finished, yes, not acceptable. But how many of you are willing to give the trophy back for a better league position?
Exactly.
How many of those fans will go, yeah, all right, take the trophy back. Take the trophy back. We don't want it. We want to finish higher in the table. Because guess what? Short of winning the Premier League and picking up the Premier League crown, the next prize you can win is Champions League football. And we've got that because we won a cup. Ange did that. However you want to slice it, however you want to try to dull it down or make it seem like any less of an achievement. Oh, but it was only the worst United team. Oh, but it was a weak competition. Oh, but we didn't beat Roma. We didn't beat Galatasaray. Right? But they got knocked out. They didn't win. Right? These great teams that we can't beat or we can't match, they did not win the competition. They got eliminated. We won it. United, who were the better team, who had a harder route to the final and beat harder opposition, we beat them. It doesn't matter how you beat them. In the final, the only thing that matters is winning, and that's what we did. And like him or not, hate him or adore the man, he promised a trophy. There is only one manager I know that wins everywhere they go in their second season, and it's not Conte, and it's not Mourinho. It's Ange Postecoglou. So whilst his form in the Premier League wasn't acceptable, you know, there are a lot of other circumstances that contributed towards that. The fact is, I will forever praise the man and love the man because he bought this club something which we have longed for far too long. And he achieved it when nobody else could. You know, so that's my take on it. I think he should have gone, but I don't like the fact that I don't like the sacking they've sacked. And how can you sack a man? What precedent does that set for your next manager if winning your first European trophy in 41 years, winning your first trophy in 17 years isn't enough to give you at least the first 10 games of the next season? What is that? What is the precedent being set? What is being asked of the next manager that comes in? What are they going to have to achieve to keep their job? You know, is a higher league position good enough?
The thing is,
AJ, good enough?
AJ, the thing is, right, put everything aside, right, and think if everybody's like really balanced, right, it's not surprising he got sacked, right, because of the league. But then if he'd been kept, it wouldn't have been surprising because he won the trophy. It's like a balancing act. But I think to sack Ange Postecoglou and bring in Frank or Silva or someone like that is just moving sideways. If you're going to sack a guy that's just won you a European trophy, right, you've got to go in and you've got to bring in a real top manager.
Absolutely agree, Jim. Absolutely agree.
I think sacking Ange and moving sideways is not the answer. And I don't understand why they've done that. I'm a little bit dumbfounded with it. I mean,
I agree, mate. I said I absolutely agree. I don't think
it's a step back, right? I think it's a step sideways.
I don't see Silva or Frank as an upgrade on Postecoglou. I don't see them, and I'm sure other people will tell me that they are, but I personally don't see that myself. Yeah, but what we've done is we've pulled the trigger and gone bang. Yeah, sorry, Ange, not good enough. You know, I don't like the fact that he was sacked. I would rather it was a mutual consent. You know, sorry, Ange, we don't see you being part of our plans, but we want to give you the dignity that you deserve. You know, you've done something, you've achieved something for this club that nobody else has done in recent times. We want to give you your dignity and the respect due to you. Here are your flowers. You know, we'll say it's mutual consent. You go your way, we'll go ours. But we're still in talks. And there are what, 2 different managers at the moment being discussed, and Pochettino's an outside sort of, you know, maybe is, maybe isn't a possibility. We've yet again, so Spursy, after we achieve something so amazing for the club, what we then do is go, we're going to sack the manager that did that for us. But we don't have a manager yet. We're still in discussions. How easy do discussions break down? How easy do talks break down? Then what happens?
Yet. I've just watched it on TV. Tottenham haven't even approached Brentford yet. But the other thing you've got to look at
that's not what Fabrizio Romano said.
They just said on there they haven't approached them yet. That's just what I listened to.
15 minutes ago, Romano said Tottenham are advancing well on Thomas Frank's appointment and are optimistic it will happen soon.
Well, Sky Sports are always behind, Kate.
That's true.
Look, the other thing you've got to look at, right, is I think to myself, we lost, was it 34 games? Thomas Frank has lost 33 games. And if you watch what people on the pundits say and what people in the chat say, people on YouTube, that they've got a lot better players than us. So some of their players are a lot better than our players. So to me, it's like I don't understand. Like their front 3, people are saying they're better than our front 3.
They are.
So, yeah, well, I don't understand then if they've lost 33 and we lost 34, why they would go that sideward step.
Because man for man, I don't think they've got a better team than we have.
Yeah, it's weird for me. It's very weird that they're doing this. But what should we say? Be surprised? It's Daniel Levy. Should we be surprised? I
would love Roberto Mancini to come in. He would be my choice. I think he's a brilliant manager. But it looks like it is going to be Thomas Frank. Look, I agreed with something Julia said. She's glad, she's gutted he's gone, but she's glad so he doesn't get any more abuse. I'm glad because YouTube has just been filled with the last 18 months been the worst time on YouTube. I know I've only been here 2 years, but it's just been horrendous. But even now, the fan base is in disarray because half of the fan base are devastated Ange has gone and half are like, well, he should have gone. And I can see absolutely both sides of the argument.
Yeah, you can understand why he's been sacked, Kate.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But I just think that if you're going to sack him, you need to have a significant upgrade. And I don't think Thomas Frank, Marco Silva, or either of them are an upgrade in any way. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just how I see it.
I think this is what I think. Right? I just think Daniel Levy doesn't like trophies. I think he sacked Jose a week before a final, the man that can get you over the line in a final, and we win a trophy and he sacks him. Maybe he just don't like silverware. I don't know.
Maybe he's a werewolf because they're allergic to silver, but then he's not very hairy, is he? But I mean, AJ, what do you think about, obviously, a lot of players have come out, as you would expect, in support of Ange, but Romero is one of the ones a lot of people are talking about because he sort of hinted that he would go if Ange goes. What do you feel about that?
I've got this real thing for players wanting to play for the club, right? And I think that many things can be forgiven, and poor performances or poor disciplinary records can be forgotten if you are absolutely in it for the club. Romero doesn't come across as one of those players. Yes, he's a fantastic defender. When he's on it. When he's in an Argentinian shirt, he's almost the best defender in the world. Put a Spurs shirt on him, he's making stupid tackles he shouldn't for no apparent reason. Then to rile the other team when there's no need, giving away needless free kicks, falling asleep, leaving your team wide open. When other players, what game was it? There was a game, the season just gone, and obviously we've had a lot of injuries throughout the season, and every other injured player was there bar Romero. The camera showed everyone else, every other player that was on that injury list, every single one of them bar Romero. I'm not overly fussed if he leaves. I've said this time and time again. I don't particularly care. I would rather have a Michael Dawson. Was he the best defender in the world? No. Did he give it all when he had that shirt on? Would he put his body on the line time and time again? Absolutely. The man would run through walls. I will take that over potential world-class ability any day of the week. If we get the Romero that plays for Argentina and he's going to be made the captain and he's going to take on that responsibility and he's going to play for the club and represent us in a way that he represents Argentina, by all means, keep the man, happy for it. But if not, I'm not overly fussed on him. I just think he's one stupid challenge away from ruining a game.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but I don't think Romero's going anywhere, because I think he will be made the captain and he will lead us into the Champions League, and that'll be enough to keep it. But Sonny has written a heartfelt message. He's put, Gaffer, you changed the trajectory of the club. You believed in yourself and us since day one and never wavered for a second, even when others did. You knew what we were capable of all along. You did it your way, and your way brought this club the best night it's had in decades. We will have those memories for life. You trusted me with the captaincy, one of the highest honours of my career. It's been an incredible privilege to learn from your leadership up close. I'm a better player and a better person because of you. Ange Postecoglou, you are a Tottenham Hotspur legend forever. Thank you, mate. I mean, Jimbo, that's sort of very heartfelt words from Sonny there. Sounds like he's a little bit gutted that Ange has gone.
Yeah, there's a few players that never come out straight away and said anything, and I think that's probably because they would have said the wrong thing, so they've sat back and thought about it. And Sonny was one of them. Madders hasn't come out and said anything yet, and everybody thinks him and Madders never got on, but I think that they did, Kate. I think they did get on. You know, it might have been a bit volatile, but sometimes volatile relationships work. But yeah, it is. I mean, they obviously like him, the players. I mean, look, at the end of the day, for the rest of their lives, right, them players and Ange Postecoglou are going to have a connection. You know,
Yeah.
look at Mickey with Roberts and people like that. They've all got a connection, them guys. They're friends. They've stayed friends forever, you know, because of 84. You know, it's something that's going to connect them forever. It's just it's such a big, it's massive what we did winning the European trophy. I mean, that was the original European trophy, so
Yeah.
it's huge.
Well, on Sky Bet, they've slashed Thomas Frank's odds now to 2-9 on, with the next one being silver at 9-2. That says to me Frank is going to be our manager. AJ, what's your thoughts on Thomas Frank?
I think he's a decent manager. I think he's done a very good job with Brentford. I think he's a safe bet. He's a manager that knows the Premier League. He's done a fairly good job. But let's be honest, Brentford are not Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
You know, it's a much bigger club, and everybody knows, every manager that has taken the job has found out it's not the same as going to a Liverpool or a City or an Arsenal or any sort of club that will go, okay, we need to secure a player, let's get the deal done. You have your hands tied when you're a Spurs manager, whoever you are. However many people go, oh, this manager don't take no bullshit. This manager doesn't put up with fools. This manager won't accept it. Every single manager we have had has sat down at the table and eaten a big plate of shit that was served to them. Simple as that. They have done as they are told, right up until the point where Conte threw his toys out his pram. And a lot of what he said has merit, but it's not professional to do what he did. It's disgraceful towards the club, and people still talk about that man like he was the second coming, like the man can walk on water, when he achieved the total sum of call for us. Absolutely nothing. And people still slag Ange off and insult that man, and it's not even just for a footballing, it's personal insults to a man that achieved something for this club that the great Jose Mourinho and the great Antonio Conte didn't. And in Conte's case, didn't even come close to, right? Yet people have respect for him, but want to slander Ange. I think Frank is a safe bet. You kind of know what you're going to get from him. I think he's tactically more astute than Ange. I I think he's quite intelligent. I think he can adapt better than Ange, but he won't. All of those players that have come out since he's gone, and they've all, it's not the sort of cheers gaffer, great memories. It's all heartfelt. It's all, they're lovely words. They are the words you would want to see. Yeah, they're not just the words written by somebody or a PR man that's like, oh, best of luck in your future endeavors. I think all the players bought into who he is and what he is and his philosophy. It's just, he was unfortunate in the sense that he was stubborn and naive at times, and he was hit with one of the worst injury crises I can remember being a Tottenham fan. Literally at one point we had our whole 11 out, or very close to it, and the first team played very, very, very few games together this season. That's going to hamper anybody. You take the first choice centre half pair partnership out of Arsenal, they concede goals. You do that to Liverpool, they concede goals. But when it's Tottenham have just got to deal with it, because if we don't, it's Spursy. If you're gonna go with any energy, you have to apply the same energy throughout. Yeah. I feel sorry for Ange. I don't think Frank is an upgrade, but if he is appointed the manager, I will back him 100%. I'll be fully behind him. I want him to succeed, because if he succeeds, then the club I love and that I support succeeds. And that's what's most important. Regardless of who's right, who's wrong, what anybody thinks, whoever the manager is now that is appointed needs to be backed by the club. The fans need to get on board, and we all need to be giving this man time to do the job.
I think with Frank, Kate, what we're going to get, I think he's a very good tactician. Yeah. I think that he knows how to set a team up against the teams he plays against. I think he's a very, very good man manager as well. The players of Brentford seem to love him. I think he'll get the team together and working as one. I'm not sitting here absolutely gutted, right?
No.
I'm quite excited if he's going to come in to see what he can do. Because look, at the end of the day, when you look at what he's done at Brentford, he's done well there. All right, he's lost 33 games, but you're right. It's not. He brought them up, didn't he, and kept them up. It's not a club like Tottenham, Brentford. So let's. I'll be behind him, you know that, and I'll be shouting the quads on. But let's give the man. I believe he's got to give him time as well.
The thing is,
and the fans as well.
What I was going to say was, all these players that have come out with all these lovely messages. When we went to watch us play Ipswich at White Hart Lane Gym, it didn't look to me like those players were playing for Ange. It was a disgrace. And I think, rather than saying the words when he's gone, why weren't they playing like for this guy? Because they weren't. They were just tottering around, passing the ball and mispassing it left, right, and centre. There were times in that season where I said to you so many times, "There's no way they're playing for this guy."
Yeah, but look, you're looking back, Kate. Right? What you need to do with someone like with Ange is you've got to look that that European win. It kind of galvanised them. So I think letting him go into next season would have been quite exciting, because they were all together. That brought everybody together. You saw on the parade. But look, at the end of the day, he's gone now. So for me, it's we've got to look forward now. And if it's Frank, I'll be behind him, and I'm excited to see what he can do. He might come in and he might do miracles here. We don't know.
Yeah, Guy Dunn says, "Hi, Kate and Jim. Just my 2 pence. If you look at all the players we're linked with, none of them have won anything of note. We're always looking in the has-beens or bargain basement options." I mean, he's going to love it, Frank, because he's used to working on an extremely tight budget. So I don't see him being one of these players, one of these managers who's going to be asking for these players. As for this comment from United fan, so Ange loses his job after winning the trophy, but Arteta says stays after not winning anything for 5 years. You've got to put it in context. Arteta has got Arsenal sitting second in the league and challenging, and got into the semi-finals. And I know of the Champions League, I know they didn't win anything and we mock them, but they are consistently, bloody hell, I couldn't speak, challenging on all fronts. So you would
not
like
getting over the line, Kate. Bit
you
like
would
Poch.
think in the odds of, like, in probability, they are going to get over the line within the next couple of years. Although I personally think they've missed their window, because I think
So do
City
I.
now are coming back with an absolute force with the players they're signing. Liverpool are getting stronger, but
We knew with Poch he'd missed his window, and that's
Yeah.
you're right. That's how I feel with Arteta.
yeah,
They missed their window.
yeah. I mean, there is an argument. Paul Connor put it that we need to get a whole new front three to be competitive again. I mean, AJ, how do you feel about going into the Champions League with the likes of Solanke, Odegaard, and maybe Sonny? I don't know, but the front three, Johnson. What are you thinking?
Oh, let's be honest. It's not. Oh, we definitely need to upgrade. We definitely need to improve. We need players. We need to sign 3, 4, 5 players that are going to go into that first team, right? And that are going to be contenders for starting positions. You don't want players that, oh, well, we've got Solanke, so we'll sign a striker that can fill in for him if he's not available. Or, Brennan Johnson's done well the last 2 seasons, but he's going to be our main guy. We'll sign someone to back him up. That all you're going to do is you're going to fall further and further behind. You need to be buying players that are going to oust the current 11 and give them food for thought. Like, shit, I have to knuckle down. I have to work hard. I have to improve my game. Otherwise, I'm not going to be playing. That's how you progress. That's how you move forwards. You offer competition to the players on the pitch. If you're not performing, mate, then you lose your place. Nobody's going to want to be sitting on the bench, and they're all working off bonuses, aren't they? Appearance bonuses, goal assist bonuses. They all want their money. They all want everything. They're going to get paid, so they're going to be performing. Currently, I think if we go into the Champions League with the front three of Odegaard, Solanke, and Johnson, I think we do okay. I think we probably make it past the league stage, because let's be honest, any team can score past any team on the counter attack, or you only need a lucky deflection. You need to hit them on the counter attack once and score and shut up shop. And we've got a very solid defensive unit. We've got a decent keeper, and when our first choice back four is there, they're very good. So, as a team, we're not bad, but we desperately need to improve. And I don't know if Thomas Frank is the man that's going to go out there and secure these signings for us. I mean, yes, he can operate on a shoestring, and he has made some smart investments over the course of his tenure at Brentford. But you're not talking about an unbelievable amount of players, are you? You're talking about 3, maybe 4 players that he's brought in and that have improved underneath him. It does worry me. It does worry me. I don't see any big signings wanting to come to us under a manager like Frank, and that's not doing him down. But we're not moving the needle with him, are we? It's not like, oh my God, we've signed Thomas Frank. He's our manager now. Like, all your world beaters, all your top stars out there aren't going to go, oh my God, Thomas Frank, I've always wanted to play underneath him. And that's not doing the man a disservice. As Jim said, it's a sideways move. It's not a needle pusher. It's not heading in the right direction for me. So yeah,
I mean,
I just,
I would love for Thomas Frank to come and bring Wissa and Mbeumo with him, because Mbeumo hasn't signed at Man United yet. And those two walk straight into our team, in my opinion. They absolutely walk straight in.
Maybe that's why he's waiting, Kate. The plot thickens.
Oh, maybe. I mean, Dan Davenport, Jim, I saw you react to this comment. Can you see Ivan Toney coming to us? I mean, Ivan Toney, I would say maybe now he's had a break from the Premier League, may come back. But I mean, what do you think?
I think that's a massive good shout. Then I could see that happening, and I would welcome him as well.
Yeah. What about you, AJ?
I have massive reserve. Yes, he's talented. yes, he's a very good striker, but I've got massive reservations about his character. I just I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that he's the right sort of character that you want in a dressing room. I think, one bad apple can spoil the bunch, and I don't know. I'm not his ability. Yes, I think he's probably better than anything we've got if we sign him. But if you take that risk and you to sign him for his ability and his goals, what's that worth if he upsets the dressing room, if he causes ructions in the dressing room? So it's got to be a quality player, but the right sort of player. You don't want to be having to try to manage that, especially. I mean, he won't be in the job very long, will he? He comes in, he signs X, Y, and Z. Yeah, we're doing well on the pitch, but then there'll be unrest in the dressing room and player spats, and that will cost him his job just as soon as it will poor performances.
Yeah.
So I think it's a poison chalice, to be honest. I think anybody that takes this job now, I think you're on a hiding to nothing.
Well, I don't think he caused a lot of trouble at Brentford. I think it was just his gambling, which look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to condemn him for that. He got involved in gambling, and he's got himself out of it. I mean, how many people do that? Freaking hell. We've all had addictions, or I would say 70% of us somewhere along the line in our life. But I don't think he caused a lot of trouble at Brentford. I don't remember reading him starting problems there. And Frank obviously got on with him because he stuck behind him and helped him.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, look. Finn says, my opinion is we need to offload Sonny, Richie, and Tell, and then get Eze, Wissa, and Damsgaard. Yeah, see, that'd be lovely for me, but I think Tell's going to end up being our first signing. I don't know whether you agree, but I think we'll end up buying this guy. But I don't.
Son won't be going anywhere. The Levy will not allow Son to go anywhere. He's a cash cow. There's absolutely no way, shape, or form is that man going anywhere. He will retire at the club. He will retire at the club, and he will be an ambassador for the club. That's just my personal opinion. I don't see Levy allowing the money we make off a Son is ridiculous. I don't see him being allowed to leave. And Tell, I really don't want Tell being signed. He absolutely flattered to deceive. I'll tell you what I'd rather do. I'd scrap that deal, say no thank you, and I'd bring back Solomon, because Solomon performed. Solomon put up some decent numbers, and it's not costing us anything, which allows us money to then progress and move on and sign other players. So say no to Tell thank you, even if they knock it down to 30, 35 million, which is the figure I've seen banded about. But if that's the case, say no thank you, save that money, bring back Solomon for the time being, and look to improve on your squad by signing players that can actually contribute to the squad.
Yeah. Blimey, we've got Kuva here. He's come to tell us the quad is on. Kuva, how are you? How are you feeling? What's going on?
Don't be silly. It's not the quad, the treble, maybe. No. Yeah, you're right. It's as you started the show, it's been a bit of an interesting week again, hasn't it?
Yeah, as usual.
Yeah, there's a lot of things AJ is saying now I agree with, but it's the bigger picture. It always comes down to this bigger picture, doesn't it? I'm thinking with Thomas Frank, if we're appointing him, that immediately sort of pours cold water on all this hype about, takeover bid, loads of cash coming into the club, because we're signing a manager that's used to working on a peanut budget. So it says to me, continuation of what we've been doing, spending very conservatively, getting the best deals we can. That ties in with Paratici coming back, who's, can wheel and deal, get some bargains, maybe some free transfers, mixed in with a sort of modest budget. So I'm not overly enthused by the signing, although I do think Thomas Frank is a good manager, very underrated by a lot of our fan base, because just to keep Brentford in that mid-table to upper table and occasionally flirting with European sort of spots on their budget is quite impressive.
Very good tactician, Coover.
Sorry,
He's a very good tactician.
he is. He is. Showed it against us, so certainly. We beat them, but when we give them a good hide, and when they had real injury problems as well. But that's the difference in cost, isn't it? Club like ours, you should have plenty of backup. Club like theirs, maybe not. So that Thomas Frank, I think's okay. It's an okay kind of name to go for. Silver, I think a few years back I would have jumped at the chance of having him, but he's got a bit of a temperament issue, hasn't he? And a habit of not sticking around at clubs as well. So does that really bode well for the future? Nah, not for me. But then we come back to what's just happened, where we just got rid of Ange, and of course, as usual, divided fan base over the issue, as it is with everything. What is it about this club? If it's Levy in or Levy out, you've got to be shoveled into one of those groups, no matter what. You've got to be Ange in or Ange out. You had to be shoveled into one of those groups. Either you like attacking football or you like winning. You're not allowed to like both for some reason. I don't get this. Hear that argument every single week. And it applies with now managers and budgets going forward, takeovers. It's like, what do you really want? And nobody's got this like definitive answer of what's going to work. So I've always stuck with the same thing. I want to see good attacking football and win things. And I'm not accepting less. I'm not going to go, I just want to see good football, or I want the trophy at all costs, and I'm prepared to see crap football. Bollocks to all of that. Let's have both. So what I'd like to see is a sustained period where we're playing some good football and we are rising that league table, because although it's amazing to win that UEFA Cup, and I'm still going to call it the UEFA Cup, always will be to me, that was a brilliant little blip on an overall downward trend. For me, if you're saying we've got to build on that, that's the equivalent of going to the bookies, winning a bit of money, and then saying, oh, I'm going to put a massive mortgage down on a new house based on that. You don't do it. You need to have a regular job, secured income. You've got to know what's happening month after month after month in the future. When it's just a one-off win, that's not foundation. How did that help Wigan? How did that help Portsmouth when they won the FA Cups? It doesn't. You've got to be consistent and methodical and keep plugging away at that league position every single year. We did that under Pochettino. We had sustained part where we are a top 4 side. What we now a top 17 side? Doesn't sound quite so impressive to me. Well, I know we take the mickey out of Arsenal, and quite rightly, it is our rival. So we've got to laugh at them not getting over the line. But we all know it. Deep down, they've got a good side. You don't keep finishing second in the league without being a good team. And even it was getting a bit worrying they're running the Champions League at one point for me. Really worrying. They actually played well against PSG, to be fair to them. But you keep thinking, if they just got one or two more players, this could be really nasty. But let's hope they screw it up again. That's what we keep praying for. With us, though, what are we doing right now? It's all up in the air, everything. I don't know whether to get excited or just resign to here we go again.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank signing makes me gut feeling is we're just going to continue what we've been doing. It's all just lots of words, smoke screens, mirrors, and we just carry on doing mediocre signings and hoping somebody gets the most out of them. But I hope I'm wrong.
I mean, Kuba, you don't when you talk about Thomas Frank, you don't imagine him being someone who's going to demand top players, because he's not used to having top players. Although he's nurtured the likes of Mbeumo and Wissa, they don't make big signings of Brentford. And that's what worries me, because we need to push on now. We're in the Champions League, and the squad we've got, a lot of them ain't Champions League quality, in my opinion.
You'd say Brentford and Brighton especially, you'd say their recruitment seems to be a lot better than ours. Not just we should be doing it at a grander scale and getting really players developing, like the new Modric coming through, a new Berbatov coming through, that sort of ilk. we at the moment, I would settle for the type of players they are bringing through at Brentford and Brighton, because I think they're better than some of us. It's consistently managing what you do have, and it comes down to management. That is the key thing for me. Despite that lovely cup win and everything, I looked at what's happening with us overall with Ange, and I'm not convinced we're going forward. We're going backward, if anything. So enjoy the cup win, and thank you for that, Ange. I do mean that. That was fantastic. That will give me a long-term memory, which is a great thing. That's what football should be. You get your memories, but you can't sacrifice the league like that. You just can't.
No.
And all of our managers live or die on that league form. Eventually, that's why Pochettino had to go. So what people say, poison chalice at this club. Yeah, it is. Levy's still there. Until that changes, it's always going to be the case. So I think, look at these mediocre managers we're labeling them. I just see maybe you get a little nugget there, somebody that actually clicks and does get the best out of some of these players. These players that might be a sort of, an 8 out of 10 signing or a 7 out of 10 signing, and brings them up to being a 9 or a 10 out of 10. We've done it before, but it's rare. Redknapp did it. Pochettino did it. You saw little bounces with Mourinho, Conte. Almost every manager get a little bit of a bounce, but we need consistency, and we need long-term consistency. That's how you build something. You don't do it on just one result and then just say, that's it, we've turned the corner. You need to back it up. And this season, we did not back it up. It was the thing that, why did both Manchester United and Spurs, all the media and both sets of fans were saying it, we needed to win that final to save the season, not to make it a great season. It was to save it, because what happens if we didn't win it? It would have been a diabolical season. You can't just blinker that off and pretend it didn't happen. Sure, for a few weeks afterwards, enjoy it. Just, it doesn't matter at that point. But when you get back down to business again, that is not going to carry you. You've got to have a lot more than that. It's consistency again, isn't it?
Yeah.
We lack it from top to bottom of the club. Levy's looks like it's another change of direction again, doesn't it? This brand new scheme that was all, it was all changed with Postecoglou. All of a sudden, it's all changed yet again. And that's the only thing we are consistent at, is just changing direction, throwing it all away and starting again. There's no rebuild, because we never built anything.
Would you have given Ange time at the start of the season, Coos?
No. I was just going to ask that.
Was you?
Yeah.
No, you'd have. I mean, I get it. I do get it. I would have given him time, but that's sentimentality, because Jim's best mate rang me up, and when we was talking about it, and he said, if you'd have lost the final, what would you have said? I said, Ange out. I said, Ange out the week before the final. And he went, you can't base your decision on one game. And it's hard not to, because emotions take over and you're like, oh, I've got this euphoric feeling that I haven't had for all these years. But looking at the league and the way we've played, it's been bloody horrendous this season.
Sorry, go on, Jim.
I was to say, so we was destined to change him anyway, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
that's what we do, isn't it? It's what he does too. He doesn't hang around either. The other, I forgot what I was going to say then. The thing is, it's a conversation we had before with Ange, isn't it? If you reverse everything, supposing this was his first season in terms of league form, and you're going from this really horrible start, can't win, atrocious results, and then you go into the second season where much improvement and grab 5th place, you'd be going, wow, he's really turning this around. But because we're going in the other direction, it's alarming. And as much as, like I said, as much as a lot of us see that cup win and enjoy it, you also got to look at that 17th place and think, that is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. The funny thing I found all season was Ange, whenever we did lose, he was going, obviously the result is unacceptable. And I thought, well, clearly it is acceptable, because you're still there.
Yeah.
So eventually they're going to run out of patience. No club is going to ignore league form at the end of the day. It's the
No.
thing that all the cash goes with it, all the sense of stability goes with it. If you can't really build on the cup win, but sorry, I've just got to turn that off a sec.
Hoover's in demand.
Oh, it was Sava. I'll call him back. No, I won't. I can't even turn it off. He's determined, this Sava. You can't just get that one result and say that's it. We're building on that. That's the way forward. When you get a short-term sort of boost in, like, we just won a European trophy. We're great. But at the same time, you've got league form where you are losing more than once every other week. What does that do to your confidence? How do you build on that on a team when you're used to getting beaten every other week? That's no good. So I don't see how this one cup run sort of overrides all that. We'd suddenly turn into this magical team. Don't think so. I think enjoy what we got there. It's a little lottery win. It's a little win at the bookies. Very nice. Thank you very much. I'll frame that. Remember it. But let's do better now, because this isn't the way forward.
I did a poll and asked who they wanted as our new manager, and 44% have said Glasner, 27% have said other, whoever other is. Frank 26%, Marco Silva 2%. AJ, would you be more excited if it was Glasner that we was getting coming into the club?
Yeah, I would have. I really like him. I think what he's achieved in his short time at Palace has been absolutely amazing. However, to touch on what Coover said,
AJ.
Say again?
What?
Glasner's got a good team at Palace.
Yeah, he has, and he's tactically astute. He's very good. But to touch on what Coover said, and it's something I've been saying myself for a long time now. You could give Pep Guardiola the job. You could give Jurgen Klopp the job at Tottenham, and neither one of them would have a sustained period of success because the club is not geared up to provide a manager like that. Look at Conte, look at Mourinho. No nonsense. We'll go out. These are the players we want. We get who we want. They didn't. Right? It doesn't matter who you employ at this club to do this job. You will have the same constraints, the restraints that every other manager has had before you. You will have your hands tied, your feet tied, bound, gagged, and you will operate with the funds that are given to you, which we can't compete with the big boys. We just can't. And the one common denominator is Daniel Levy. That is the common denominator. And I'm not overtly Daniel Levy out. I'm not. I don't think he's good for the football side of it, business side of it, and the everything else he brings into the club. Yes, but footballing matters, which is fundamentally what we are. We're a footballing club. We will never have a sustained period of success. All the while that man is where he is. There have been too many managers come and go, too many players come and go, quality players that haven't achieved anything at this club. And the one factor that links them all, the one common denominator is Daniel Levy. Until that man goes and we have somebody, and it doesn't have to be this huge conglomerate come in, these multi-million-pound oil tycoon. We don't have to have any of that. You just have to have somebody with a decent vision that wants to run the club and to the point where we can progress and win things and be competitive. That's it.
Yeah, Jimbo, what about you with Glasner? I mean, he's got a history of winning things. He's won things with Frankfurt. I would be more excited, I think, if it was Glasner.
Yeah, I think that he would be a good appointment. But look, I'm not sitting here going to be absolutely gutted if Frank comes in. I do think it's a sideways step, but I think that he's a manager that could get a bit more out of some of these players and get them playing a bit better. So we just have to wait and see, Kate. I think he's going to be franked by what they're saying on the Sky Sports and what you said that Romano said. So we just have to get on board with it. I mean, I'll be on board with it. He's our manager, so I'll back him. and let's see what he can do. Look, at the end of the day, right, all these managers, no matter who they are, have got to take a step up at some time. You know, they all start lower and they have to take a step up. So maybe this is the step up that's going to be the making of him. Let's see.
AJ's got to go. He's on daddy duty. But thanks for coming on, AJ.
Yeah, cheers, AJ.
Cheers, AJ.
Cheers, guys. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Let's see you
Big
later.
love. Bye. Cooper, what about you with Glasner?
I think he's done a fantastic job. Palace keep it simple, but play exciting on the break as well. And they're just so well organised. That FA Cup win was not a fluke.
No.
They were well worth it.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd be really happy with him. I just don't think we'll go for him.
No.
I think they're looking at Frank because stability, been there quite a while now. I can understand why they'd be looking at Silva, thinking the same thing. You know, working on a cheap budget, mid-table, comfortable every season at least. Perhaps they'll push us onto like nipping out into Europe on a regular basis and still keeping that stability. Perhaps that's the plan.
That's very depressing.
It is. It really is. Especially when they start talking about all these big numbers of cash that could be coming to the club, and you start looking at United just losing to us in the final, having an equally abysmal season, and now they're getting some really exciting players coming in. What about
and
us?
they're linked with Gyökeres as well, who they haven't even got Champions League to offer. I mean, I don't understand why we don't go in for this guy. His stats are off the chart. He's 60 million. Yeah, I know, but we paid that for Solanke, and this guy is
Maybe he wants more wages.
Maybe. My head goes tight when I think about the transfers.
Or perhaps he thinks he can do better than us.
Maybe. Yeah, looks at us in 17th, says no thank you. There is, look, I do think Frank will get us organised. There definitely won't be as many losses under Frank, and I think the football will be easier to watch because although the first 10 games of Ange were exciting, and there were some times like the 4-0 win against Manchester City, for example, there were some games I watched Ange football and I thought it was really good and exciting. Generally, I was pulling my hair out for most of it. I was either bored shitless or thinking that we were going to concede 20 goals in a game, and you're not going to get that with Thomas Frank. You are going to get a proper team playing with a proper style. We won't be letting in goals left, right and centre, and I think it will definitely be more organised. And if I was the likes of Romero, I would be excited about that because I think Romero is a fantastic player, and sometimes Ange and Porro and Udogie, sometimes Ange's crazy system exposed these guys, whereas in a normal system, they would look solid. That's just my opinion on that. But,
hard to tell, isn't it?
It is hard to tell.
Yeah. So you get the feeling sometimes they just don't feel like it. But is that because they're seeing what's happening around them and they're sort of despairing a bit as well? You don't know. You'd have to think when a manager's coming in with a way of playing that just gets you wins, you see a difference in the players then, don't you? Attitudes and everything. I think we see too often, not just with Ange, but recent managers as well. Even when the big names like Mourinho and Conte, as soon as players don't really believe in what's happening, performances drop as well. And then it starts looking like they don't even care. I think they care. They're just disillusioned. We'll have to see, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, AJ said he doesn't think Son's going anywhere. I think Son goes this window. That's just my personal opinion. I think he goes. I do think he comes back and becomes an ambassador for Spurs, but I can see him leaving this window. Jim, what do you think?
Well, that's what I wanted to say as well, because you said about the transfers. They've got to sort something out quick because of the transferring. He's going to want to look at these guys and see who he wants to keep, who he don't want to keep, and where he needs to fill gaps. So it's important that they sort this manager out really, really quick, because they're not going to buy anyone until they've sorted the manager out. I mean, it doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
So, but yeah, I think Sonny might go, Kate. I do. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if he stayed, but I think that if the right offer comes in for both him and the club, I think he'll go.
Yeah, and then that paves the way for Romero to get the captain's armband and lead us into the Champions League. Obviously, Sonny's form's been a bit crap as well, Kuva. But I mean, AJ said no way will he go. He's a cash cow. I've just got a feeling he will go this window. But I mean, I don't know what you think.
Financially, sort of toss up, isn't it? If we get like a 50-60 million pound bid from the Middle East, like, you know, seems to be the popular thing now, I think he'd probably lose that in revenue from what he brings in from the Asian market and Korea in particular. So if it's purely financial, it probably doesn't make any sense. But does he feel like, you know, he's you know, needs a change now? He's finally won that trophy. The Premier League's starting to get a little bit too much of a grind for him, a little bit too much pace involved still, and he's got to look after himself a bit more. Perhaps he wants a like easy, nice big bumper contract at the end, and it appeals to him. But from the club's point of view, no, I don't think it makes any sense to sell him.
Wow. Well, we have got the new Korean coming in, although I don't have a clue what's happened to him. I don't know if he's coming back.
That could be another thing as well. Sonny staying on for another year to help ease him in.
Yeah, this is true. Sonny won't go before the Korean tour is over this summer. Oh, yeah, there is that as well. Son signed a 1-year extension. This is from Spurs official. We're delighted to announce we have exercised the option to extend Son's contract, which will now run until the summer of 26. That don't really mean anything, though. That just means that they can get more money for him. But we're still in for Tyler Diblin, so that tells you these signings are all club signings. Gyökeres is on 40 grand a week at Sporting, 120,000 less than we were paying Werner. It's not what he's on though; it's what he's demanding if he moves.
The phrase "paying Werner," even that just makes me laugh.
Thank God he's gone. Thank the Lord that he has definitely gone. Levy will not let him go. He's generating way too much revenue from Asia. Yeah, there is that. I kind of would like to see Sonny go because I don't like the thought of watching him just deteriorate even more. We did it with Hugo Lloris. In the end, it was kind of pitiful watching this guy whose career was clearly at an end, trying to be our goalie. And I just feel a bit like that for Sonny. I don't see that spark in Sonny anymore. But, you know, who knows? Maybe never won a trophy. It might change.
I think if you just be realistic with him, and he's also realistic, and just say he's not going to be starting every week.
Yeah.
He's going to be there in the squad and he will come in big games. He's always had a habit of turning up in a big game when we really needed him.
This is true.
So I think I'd like to have that kind of experience and ability to call on at times.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you can bring in your exciting youngsters and see what happens. See if you can get something out of them. Have we got that at the moment? I'm not so sure. I'm not exactly. I don't think the signing of Tell is going to pull up any trees, is it?
No. And to be fair,
he scored 2 or 3 goals or something in that loan period.
I really was excited when he first came in. I thought this guy's going to be good for us, but then, not for me. But I see us bringing in these Tyler Diblin signings. I don't see us bringing in anyone with experience, and I think that's what our squad really needs. A couple of real experience, and number 6 with experience would be nice, but I just don't see it.
Bring Hoybier back, yeah.
Don't. But this is sorry, Jim, before you say, let me just say before I forget that Delap's looking more and more like a brilliant signing at £30 million. But yeah, go on, Jim. Sorry.
Well, where are you on the takeover?
Okay.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not even going to speculate on it. It's pointless. We've heard rumours of takeover so many times. So many different people are about to take us over, and you know it's all the bright new dawn again. It's all going to happening. It's going to be complete change, and then it never bloody happens. Or it's superficial little things that ultimately Levy is running his hand over anyway, and it just doesn't affect the club. So it's the boardroom equivalent of I'm not believing it until I see him hold the shirt up.
Yeah.
we've been here so many times. It's always the same though. I think, like I said earlier, that if we're going to sign Thomas Frank as manager now, that to me suggests we are not going to suddenly see a bumper spending spree. The complete opposite, in fact, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I do. I agree with what Koo said there. It all feels a little bit depressing, considering it was only 2 weeks ago that we were on this massive high. It suddenly feels all a little bit depressing.
Yeah,
But Chang,
kicking in that.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. Chang's here to bring our ray of sunshine and tell us everything's going to be fine. Mr. Chang, how are you? How are you feeling?
A very, very good afternoon. It's, I think, 2 p.m. or just past 2 p.m. over there in Britain. Miss Kate, thank you for having me on this members calling show. How are you doing, Mr. Hoover, Mr. Boxall, and everyone else out there watching this live or in playback? I am doing fairly well, given how I woke up with a massive shock this morning, having gone to bed the night before, not knowing that Big Ange had been giving his marching orders. And my first feeling was that of overwhelming relief. Not for me as a Spurs fan, not for me as a football fan, but for Ange. I am so relieved for Ange. He no longer has to deal with Levy, our fan base, the people that want him out, the journalists and the media that can openly call him a clown. And if I were any of his relatives or even his immediate family members, I would be so relieved for him that he no longer had to endure all of this. But otherwise, I'm feeling somewhat. I'm on the fence of Big Ange being given the boot, because I think this really sets a very, very bad precedence for any new managerial candidates before they do, decide to take up this job. And until such time as when Thomas Frank or Marco Silva or anyone else is confirmed, I'm just going to leave it be as it is, because I think it's a bit too premature to be evaluating any of these probable candidates before they do, sign on the dotted line. But otherwise, this is Spurs, only Spurs. Only Spurs can make you feel depressed when the season is over, when we've won the league, when everyone is off on their holidays, when we're all supposed to be stress-free. We are supposed to be stress-free, and even then, even in the off-season, we can't even be afforded that. I'm so at a loss right now to even explain how I'm feeling, to be honest with you, Miss Kate. So I'm just going to say that I'm so glad I'm here to be able to live this, or have to endure this, because I honestly think that things might not necessarily be any rosier for us than it was the past season or so. So let's just enjoy this preseason before the new managers unveiled, before we get let down by the lack of activity in the summer as per usual, and before we do get thumped by PSG, by whoever it is who's going to take charge of us. So big up everyone. Hope you all have a fantastic Saturday. That's my mini rant over. Back to you, Miss Kate.
Mini rant. It was the politest rant I've ever heard, Chang. Let's talk that it looks like Thomas Frank's coming in. I'm going to come to you first, Coover, with this. Is there any way that Thomas Frank comes in and the fan base unites together and goes, yes, this is the guy, and everyone becomes friends again?
No.
Is there any way that could happen?
You know what? I can't think of any manager in the world that would unite the fan base.
Yeah, it's sad truth, I think.
I get one where everybody says, he's a reasonable appointment and things like that, but we'll just disagree on something else. It'll be ownership we disagree on, coaches, players, whatever. If there's any possibility they can drive a wedge between a couple of fans, it's at this club. I don't know why it is. We have to argue about things that we both believe in, and at the end of the day, what do we really want as fans? You'd like to think it's to watch the team playing stylish football, banging in a hat full of goals and raining trophies. Like, you'd like to think that would be enough. But you know what? I'm not sure that is enough now. I think it's going to be certain ownerships and off-field activities are going to line up. The people talking about looking at finances and, you know, worried about the sustainability of the club. Since when do we worry about that sort of bollocks?
Of course it is.
Club.
Exactly. Whatever you all talk about that
See,
years
this is
ago.
why I'm not going to be nasty about Ange, because at the end of the day, he did win us that cup. And that is what you live for. Moments where you win a trophy. So yeah, I'm kind of burnt out a little bit on this whole I'm right, you're wrong. No, I'm right, you're wrong. We're kind of all in the same boat where we're just going to sit back and see what happens, because this ship is off regularly rudderless. So we'll see if we're going to wash up on the rocks or in some sort of paradise. It'll be the rocks, won't it?
It probably will, yeah. Frank's style is pretty much to sit back and counter. That doesn't fit Spurs. I kind of think it does fit Spurs, because that's how we won some of our big games last season, or by sitting back and then counter-attacking, playing the way Conte played. But look, we'll have to wait and see. How are you feeling about Frank Chang? Would he be your choice? Is there someone else you would have rather come?
I mean, honestly, if it's Frank, I would welcome it, and I will fully back him. But there is the argument that has Thomas Frank actually won anything anywhere else other than Britain, or outside of Britain, for that matter? And would he have the pedigree to be able to juggle between, say, the Premiership and the Champions League, and also all the other domestic cups? And at the end of the day, at the end of the season, how are we going to be evaluating him? Like, is he expected to finish within top 5, top 6, or even get us into Europe next season? Failing which, he would be shown the door, before next preseason is even up. So I think that he has the pedigree to work with us, but I think his managerial appointment would be somewhere along the lines of us courting with Nuno, when we knew, or rather when we thought we could have had Conte before we did get Conte in. So my feeling right now is that Thomas Frank is something like a Nuno to me. And the very fact that Nuno actually finished higher than Thomas Frank this season is saying a lot. Having less than what Jose and Conte had before Nuno was shown the door. So I would urge caution. Be careful what you wish for, but also at the same time be thankful for what you have. I will forever be grateful for Big Ange and the belief that he instilled in us. That's first 10 games from the previous season, as well as the Europa League victory. And I would like to state for the fact that I would very much welcome Thomas Frank, but let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see until it becomes official, and at the same time, let's just wait and see what are the players that he would have left at his disposal when the transfer window shuts. Having said that, back to you, Ms. Kate.
Yeah, I agree, Chang. I also agree with Boris. I'm not Levy's biggest fan, but I do think he was damned if he did and damned if he didn't, because if he'd have kept him, you would have had that section of the fan base that went absolutely crazy saying we've got a small club mentality. Then if he gets rid of him, you've got that section of the fan base saying he's just won us a trophy. I can say this hand on heart, I can completely understand both sides. So I'm kind of indifferent. I said to Jim when I heard the news, I was relieved because of the division it's caused on YouTube, more than anything. I just think this last 2 years on YouTube has been really difficult because of that. And I think Jim, the league is the bread and butter. You can't dismiss it when people are paying thousands and thousands of pounds for season tickets. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to dismiss the league and try and win the Europa League." Surely.
I can. YouTube, Kate, it'll get divided again with Frank if we get Frank.
Of course it will, yeah.
You know, he'll lose 3 or 4 games, right? And there'll be people screaming for his head. But you got when you bring a manager in, you've got to give them time, you know. And look, just take Ange for instance, right? How many people were screaming for him to be sacked? You know, halfway through the season, they stuck with him, and it ended up in glory, you know. But the divide will come again because it's just the way people are, you know. And we know that a lot of people do stuff for clicks and likes and whatever. You know, they probably don't mean half the stuff they're saying, some of them. But the divide will come again. I forgot what the question was now.
I said, do you know what? I forgot.
Do you know what, Kuva? I was just thinking of YouTube, and I was thinking that, Kate, you're a bit naive to think that we're all going to get together because it won't.
No, I didn't say I thought we would. I said, is there any way we would? No, my question was, you surely can't dismiss the league because the fans like Ben Kaufman, his whole family pay for season tickets, and you can't just say, oh, we weren't bothered about the league because we was concentrating on Europe. And I also said that Levy was in a no-win situation. Whatever decision he made, he was going to come under fire.
Yeah, you're right with that. You're right with Levy. He was going to come under fire either way. But I mean, the Levy could do himself a massive favour by appointing the right person, right? I mean, that'd get him out of the shit massively. But no, you're right. But you got to still you still got to put in context that last season that we did have a lot of problems, right? So not all the losses, but some of the losses you were expecting to come because of the teams we had out there, right? But at the end of the day, he got us glory at the end of it, and we've all got to be thankful for that. And am I surprised he's sacked? Of course I'm not, because we were 17th in the league. When was the last time we were that low in the league? It was a long time ago, you know. So am I surprised he's sacked? Of course I'm not surprised he's sacked. Do I think he deserved to go into next season? Personally, yes. I think he earned the right to go into next season. But it doesn't mean that it's right that he should have took us into next season. That's just my humble opinion, you know. But I'm not surprised he's sacked. And if they'd have kept him, I wouldn't have been surprised there either.
The thing is, Jim, the stream before the game we lost before the final, the league game, both you and I went on stream and said Ange out. Both of us.
I didn't say Ange out, right?
No,
I've not once said Ange out, so don't put words into my mouth, darling. Right? Not once have I said Ange out.
You didn't say Ange out. You said what you said was.
I will tell you what I said because I remember things that I say. Right? I said I think this was a step too far for him being in the Premiership. Right? But I've never said Ange out.
Don't get your vagina in a twist.
Well, I don't call for people to be sacked. I say my opinion, and my opinion is I think that the Premiership of Tottenham was a step too far for him. But look, he took us to a European trophy, so I'll be the first one to say in the Cups I was wrong. But in the league, maybe he wasn't astute enough. Maybe he was too stubborn, you know. But I think that he's an intelligent man, that next year maybe he could have changed his philosophy and done better with us. You know, the group was. This is what I was looking at. The group were more united, right, after that European win. The younger players, right, had grown up a lot, and they'd had a year in the Premiership, so that was going to make a massive difference as well. And I think moving into next season, that might have all stood us in good stead. But obviously, we'll never know that now under Ange, will we?
No, Jim is definitely going down the stairs.
I swear I saw a short of Jim saying, "Get Ange out of my club." Where I saw it.
There was. That's.
No, I never said get him out of the club, not once. Kuva, you can go back and watch every single stream.
It was something along those lines. It was very.
No, I've always said that I think it was a step too far for him. I've never once said Ange out.
No, you did one where you were absolutely.
I tell you what, you go back and you find it.
I will, mate.
I'm going to find it. I've got it. I know which one it is.
I've never said Ange out, not once.
I will say that some of the greatest things Ange gave me was the memories from the final, obviously, is number one. Number two is Kuva being so happy to be a Spurs fan and calling the quaddies on for at least the first 12, 15 games of the first season. And three, the phone call that... And the phone call that Phil P gave us after the final on the Saturday after the parade was the greatest phone call I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm not sure how Phil got through it because his
That
voice
was
had
funny.
basically gone, but it was brilliant. So there were some good memories there. But look, it is what it is.
I think somebody hit the nail on the head earlier when he said Ange should have just left at the parade.
I said it in Jose's. He should have just said, "That's it, I'll go."
Yeah, it would have been a nice send off, wouldn't it? It'd just be
exactly.
Thank you. You said that. We knew you got to go, but it's just celebrate it. Just
the
celebrate.
whole season 3 is better than season 2. It kind of makes him a little bit silly now because the main character did get killed off. But you know what? If I was him, I would have stood on that balcony, lifted the trophy, and then said, "Thank you, but I'm off," because he gets to walk away with his head held high. And
Godfather 2 was good, but Godfather 3, nah.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You see. But look, it's done now. Chang, I know you joined us late, but I'm going to finish unless there's anything you want to particularly say before we head off.
I just want to add some closing statements that whoever we bring in next, I think we have to afford him as fans anyway. Us as fans, we have to afford this new manager all the patience that we can muster and really get behind him like no other manager, more so than Ange, Pochettino, Mourinho, Conte, Nuno, maybe even Martin Yol or Juan de Ramos before them. Because if winning a European trophy isn't enough to keep you in the job, regardless of where you finish in the league, then I honestly don't know. I myself don't even know what is going to save any managerial any manager from being sacked here at Tottenham. I think final closing statements: get behind a new manager, but always and forever, ENIC and Levy out. Back to you, Miss Kate.
Sorry, Chang, I was listening, but I was also finding I was just listening to the stream that Jimbo did it, and he doesn't actually say Ange out. I said Ange out. He just says, I had to just listen. He says that there's no structure in the team and he's not good enough. And I go into a mad rant and say, I don't even want him taking the Europa League final. He's a disgrace. Don't ever let him manage another game. And Jim just says it was a step too far, the Premier League.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, you was quite respectful. But the headline is "Get Ange out of my club," and that was my Peggy Mitchell. Get out of my club. But yes, Jimbo, you was right.
It was mildly implied by Jim then, without actually
mildly implied, but in a polite way.
Look, Kuva, if we'd have kept him right and we'd have gone into next season with him, I would have still been skeptical, right? Because of the league. I mean, I think there wouldn't be a fan that wouldn't be, right?
Yeah, sure.
Even if they're mad Ange in, they'd still have it in the back of their head. We finished 17th, and it's gonna, what's gonna happen this season. But I just personally think that after he won us that trophy, when you saw the parade, 250,000 people, and you saw how happy everyone was, and 95% of YouTube was celebrating it, and you saw people that have never seen a trophy, how many of our fan base have never seen a trophy? I thought they had earned the right to take us into next year, but it's not to be. So when Frank comes in, I'll be saying the quad is on.
That's it. Chang, are you on with Jose in the morning?
I did ask him that earlier when he did his members call-in show. He told me that the next episode, episode 13 of Jose and Chang, is going to be next Sunday. Hopefully by then the new manager would have been appointed and we have some form of direction to take our pre-season into and prepare for our Super Cup against PSG. So there won't be any Jose and Chang tomorrow, but next Sunday at 9 a.m. Is when episode 13 of Jose and Chang drops. Thank you for asking that, Miss Kate.
You're welcome. I personally think we will get an answer over the next, what day is it? I think we know by Wednesday the manager is. Kuva, thanks for coming on. It's been lovely to have you on. It's been a long time. It's good to see you looking well with your fresh hair or lack of it.
I thought if I get my head nice and cool and I don't get too cozy, I might not fall asleep this time.
Is it going to be a case of Coos, if the new manager comes in and goes on a winning streak, is it going to be a case of you're not cutting your hair again until we lose? Yeah. I love it.
Absolutely. I will keep my hair really short over the summer, so I'm staying cool. And yeah, start of the season, my hair doesn't get shaved while we're unbeaten.
There we go. You heard it here first. But Coos, any plans for any streams for you, or are you just taking it easy?
Taking it easy. I think the last few years and what's happened on YouTube especially, and well, just the fan base, it's kind of left a bad taste in the mouth. And
yeah,
you know, unfortunately, it's so hard not to get dragged into it yourself. And I found I was getting dragged into it. So then I start criticizing people for acting the way they are. And I thought, why am I even bothering with this?
Yeah.
So I just stepped away from it all. So I'm just going to go lighthearted when I do come on, say what I genuinely believe about something. If somebody doesn't like what I say, fine. It doesn't matter. I can be wrong.
Exactly.
It's just supposed to be a bit of a laugh. So there's a few channels I will go on now. The light-hearted. Having said that, I said I would nip on the Savas as well.
Well, that's good. Sav's a good guy, but he's definitely not light-hearted, I would say.
No, it's a proper debate show, that one, isn't it? Yeah.
But I did find that on Monday Jess's quiz, which I've never ever been in, and I had the best time. So I'm going to go and join Jess's quiz again tonight because I thought it was excellent. She's got a great little
nice little channel, Kate. That's why.
Yeah, it's a lovely little channel. Well, it's not little, it's huge.
You got to have fast fingers for that quiz.
I know. I got 115. Ended up in 13th place on my first.
Doesn't surprise me. You got fast fingers.
Oh yeah, they work. Especially, yeah, I'm not going to go there. But yeah, so anyone who's looking for something that isn't football related, Jess tonight does a quiz. She's got the watch along, I think, at 5 as well for the England game. But it's not cancelled, Drew. Don't tell fibs. But yeah, Coos, I hear you. I am sticking with non-football channels from here on in. It's the best way for my mental health, without any shadow of a doubt. So that's why we feel so honoured that you chose to come on here and speak a little bit of football for us. So thank you.
You're sort of online family to me. So yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, we're family. Jimbo, anything you want to add before we go?
No, it's just like it's nice that people come in. It's a safe space for them because we won't put up with shit in here. We don't want people coming in and getting abused, and we want the guests to come on to enjoy it. You know,
exactly.
We want it to be a safe space for people. And if people think we're happy clappers because of it, then that's what they can think. It's just we want a nice, when people come in here, it's a nice relaxing. They come off this channel and they're all in a good mood. And anyone can have their opinion no matter what it is, but just be respectful to everyone.
Yes,
and a quick word on flip-flopping as well. I will champion it at all times. Yep, Kate, absolutely. Quite right, you should do. Football's all about emotions. It's supposed to be the end of the world if you lose. It's supposed to be the best day ever if you win. Why should it ever be any different? So so I'm going to say Ange in, Ange out, Levy in, Levy out.
Frank out.
Yeah. Just roll with all of it because it's supposed to be a bit of fun with friends. This is what I live for on YouTube anyway. It's the people I've met and I want to have a laugh with on screen. And big up to Chang, by the way, who I haven't been on screen with you for a long time either, mate.
Yeah.
Pleasures, my Mr. Coover.
I will say that
that's right. It is. No. Pleasures.
I'm determined to not let this channel go down any sort of negative route next season because it cannot be any worse than this season. So next season, we're going to be happy clapping all over the place. So as a warning...
Depends who the manager is, doesn't it?
I'm still going to happy clap, I've decided, because we've got exciting things going on in our life. So I'm going to reflect that onto YouTube and make it a happy place because you know what? We like to think that people come on here and watch it and then go away feeling a little bit happier.
I mean, when you think about it, Kate, with everything that happened last season, we kept this channel in a real good space, really.
We did, yeah.
Because it would have been easy.
It wasn't always easy.
Of course not. But as Kuva just said, football is massively about feelings, right? And if you have a little change of heart with something, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just part of life, isn't it? You know, you have good weeks in football where you're down, and you have good weeks in football where you're up, and bad weeks where you're down. But that's what football is.
Yeah.
You know, and look, at the end of the day, there's no team that can win every single week, no matter who it is. So it's just about enjoying the wins and not feeling so good when you lose.
Exactly that. But look, thank you very much, Chang, Hoover, and AJ as well for coming on. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Enjoy England if you're going to watch them. As soon as a new manager's announced, we will come on. It probably won't come on when it gets announced because it's just crazy. Everyone went live like that. And I just said to Jim, I'm not going live. It's just no point. But I'm sure we'll have a discussion on it when it happens. Big up, Lee. But yeah, be nice to each other. And Jim, do you want to finish the show? Go on, you just say your little bit.
Yeah, when Frank comes in, get behind him because he's going to win us the quad. Come on, you fucking Spurs.
Giving opinions with no regret, smashing the top bins like in the onion net. Talking the talk with Kate and Jim, and walking the walk, just listen in. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter. Mix and transfer news, it's what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Jimbo always keeps a positive spin, while Kate's Mickey has a name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like Lenny stop robbing, or she's just flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match.